Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to Funky Fold Friday. So this is our final card for this week's stamp set of the week, Capturing Smiles. It's all been about the camera. Now I don't know if you remember a little while ago, it was all the rage to have the Flying Seagull. So that's what we're creating today. It's this card here. As you can see, it's quite a funky fold. It stands like that. See if I can do it that way. There we go. A little bit further up the top when it stands on the mantelpiece. A bit like that. There we go. And it gives you that kind of the wings of the flying seagull. So that's the design we're going to create, and this is the card. So let's bring in my supplies and we can begin. Right, let's put this away so somewhere safe. Right, okay, so the supplies we've got are early espresso. We have 2 sheets of this, both measuring 4 inches by 8 1/4. I then have a piece of early espresso measuring 4 by 4. And then I've got designer series paper, which is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then I have 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. By 3 3/4, and then I have 4 of these. I think it is. Yep, 4 of these, each measuring 2 inches by 3 3/4. Okay. I've then got a 3 1/2 by. I want to make sure I've got this one right. 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, which will go onto here, and then I've got 2 pieces of a scrap. Right. So let us start by scoring. Okay, so it's a scoreboard. So we're going to score the 2 long pieces. Measurements are exactly the same on both sides. So the first one is at 2 1/4 inches. Then we're going to score it at 4 inches. I'm going to pull the leg out and score it at 6 1/4 inches. That's on the first piece, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the second piece. So that's 2 1/4, 4 inches, and 6 1/4. Okay, so what we're going to do is have them both side by side. So taking the right hand panel, you're going to bring the right hand panel over towards you. Okay, so right to left. Then we're going to fold this one underneath itself and back on itself. So you get this kind of, you've got this one's closed in, you've got a V, so you've got a mountain and a valley. So you've got that way, okay, mountain and a valley. Now what you're going to do is you're going to turn it round because you want these two to meet each other, and they are going to attach to our piece of 4 by 4 early espresso. My brain was gone then. Right, just bear with me for a second. I'm going to put the camera on hold. I've forgotten my tear and tape. Okay, it's always the case that when I want something, it's in the other room. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of the tear and tape, and what I want to do is hold these 2 pieces side by side. I'm just going to run my tear and tape along there like that. That will hold the 2 pieces side by side, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to need to put this over the top, and it should fit exactly top and bottom and side to side. So what we need to do is take our glue, hold that down, put some squiggly glue over the top, and we're going to bring this in, and we're going to bring it down, And because I've used the glue, we've got that wiggle room. And then I'm just going to make sure that it is set on all 4 sides. There we go. Okay, we can push that down now and make sure. There we go. So that is the basics of the fold. So now we can go ahead and put the paper on. So actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold that. I'm going to do stamping first. So the 2 of the 4 pieces that measure 2 3/4, sorry, 2 inches by 3 3/4. That's 1 and 2. They are going to be side panels, and I need them to create this panel here. Okay, this panel here. Right, so let's see what we can do. So I'm going to probably stamp in Lost Lagoon the cameras, and I'm using very vanilla rather than Whisper White. Got 1, 2, put 1 there, and then 1 there. There we go. Do the same. 1 up the top. Now, if you didn't want to stamp, you could use this as designer series paper instead. That's going to go there, and then that's going to go there. Okay, so I've done that. Then I'm going to bring in my heart, and I'm going to use Petal Pink. Make sure I am using, yes, it is Petal Pink. So I'm going to use Petal Pink. So that's going to go 1 there, and 1 there, and then I'm going to do 1 there, and 1 there. Give that a quick wipe down. And then I'm going to bring in the old olive. And there. This one. And then the same here. 1 there. And 1 there. Okay, so that's that. Put those there for a second. Then I'm going to bring in my 2 pieces of scrap. We're going to stamp the body of the camera. Like so. Then I'm going to bring, now this piece is like a gift tag, but it's actually to go over the front of the camera, which I'll show you in a moment. I'm going to stamp myself a image, and then I need to cut out a square, and I'm going to, let me think, what colour shall I use? I've got the words photo op, so let's do the green. Okay, now these can be all cut out using the dies that come with the set. So I've got camera, I've got the disc, and I have, oops, she said, let me just grab it. Die. and this will cut out this, and you can also pop it over there like so. Then I'm going to get myself, put those aside, and I can bring in what I've done. I've also coloured in the sides, so this is Petal Pink in the blends. So that's that one, I've done that, and that one, and I haven't put the sentiment on that, so let's do that again, which is that one. Perfect. Then using the Old Olive, Petal Pink and Lost Lagoon, I'm going to run that through the cut and emboss machine. I've got my negatives, I've got my shutter, I've got hearts, I've got circle, and I've got another circle. Right, so run those through and they will come back. I'm going to use one of that in each colour. So I've got a negative in Old Olive, I have a negative in Petal Pink, and I have a negative in Lost Lagoon. Let's move these out of the ways. Whoops. Now when you run these through, you get little, these pop out of the middle. So I've got myself a, got all three of those, just in case I want to use them. And then I've got the shutters. Okay, so let's build these. I'll put these aside for a second. So once you've coloured this in, and as I said, I've used Petal Pink, this now goes over the top here, and it gives you like the spy hole and some more details for you to put here. So that's just going to be a bit of glue. Okay, and that will go over the top. Lovely. Then I've got this circle, so I'm going to put this on here and I'm going to glue it down. So that's, there you go. I'll stick the green in the middle. Oops. And then I've got the ring to go around the outside. And then I'm going to stick the heart in the middle. And because this card pops out, I'm not really going to use dimensionals because I don't want it to be too big. Right, so that's those done. So now it's time to build our card. So these two panels go either end of, so the first panel on either end is where this goes. Okay, that one goes down in there. Lovely. And then the same on this one. Then the 1 1/4 designer series paper goes either side here. Okay, I'm going to use, actually it's 1 1/2, not 1 1/4. Yeah, I'll do the same with this one. to move it ever slightly. Better. Okay. Then we're going to put that one in the middle here. Oh, excuse me. I can't remember the name of the designer series paper, so I will put it in the supply list, which you'll find in the QR code at the end of the video. And then I've got this piece that goes into the middle here. This is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I can stick that down. Lovely. And then if you're going to turn it over, the 2 middle panels are where these go, which is the other 2 remaining 2" by 3 3/4, and that makes it easy for people to write the message on. That's 1. Okay, and back to the front. Now we can arrange our camera, our negatives. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to, that's it, like that. Hold them down with my dimensionals, remembering this time to make sure it's lower down and not up top. So I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to put 1 there, and put 1 there and 1 there. And we should be able to, there we go, put that through like that. Put it straight if you want to, or you could tilt it. Before I do that though, I'm going to put my pictures in. So I've got this photograph to pop into here. So I'm going to put a dab of glue onto here, like so. I'm just going to move it around so it fits within the hole. Then I'm going to put some glue on the top of the negative, and that will hold that down. Okay. Then I'm going to take this square and I'm going to pop it in to the middle there. That one's moved, so I need to hold it down a bit more. So I'm going to put a dab of glue on the top of this bit. Make sure it fits over. That holds that down. And then I've got this photo op, which is going to go into here. Again, it's a bit too big, so it fit in? No, it won't. So I'm going to put a bit of dab of glue on the base. Slide that under and then move it around till I'm happy it's in the right place. Happy it goes there. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on the tab of the negative, and that hold that down. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to put a heart on there. I have got a spare one. I've got lots of spares here, so let's see if I can find a green heart. I cut lots out just in case I needed them, so there it is. There is the green heart, and that can go in the middle there. So let's add a dab of glue on there. It's always handy to have extras, and what I don't use now can be used in, I can go in my stash for scrapbooking, because because I'm sure there's bound to be a time when I need a camera. There we go. Right, so now the thing to do is to take off our backings from our dimensionals. And our camera goes into place. So let's have a look. Let's tilt it. There. And that is our card done really quickly with some beautiful. So when you close it, push it in like that, and then you ping those two back, and it will sit there underneath. It will sit flat once you've got it in an envelope, and it fits in a normal size envelope. So thank you ever so much for joining me today and for joining me this week. I hope you liked capturing smiles. It's, I think, quite a versatile stamp set, and I will be using it again. So thanks ever so much, and I hope to catch up with you next week. Take care. Bye.